So in a random scan display device, what happens? Suppose you have a CRT, your cathode ray tube. You have electron beams to light the phosphorus on the screen. Earlier in raster scan, what was happening? We were going line by line, right? Now what is happening in random scan, that we will allow the electron beam to directly here. These beams are directed to the parts of the screen where the picture is to be drawn. Basically what happens, it keeps the image or your drawing as a form of lines, set of lines. Okay, so basically you print lines on this screen. So there will be many number of lines is to be printed, they are possible, and the combination of these lines will make your complete image. So here random scan display, what it say, you need not scan each of the line as it was being done in raster scan. You can just print the lines, and because of printing these lines you will find that the lines are more smoother than those lines which are printed in the raster scan, because you go through the line by line, and there what happens, it is not as smooth as it is in random scan display. But there may be certain other limitations for random scan. Let us discuss about these things. That what happens in random scan, you will have to store it as the lines to be printed. If at all there are less number of lines, then it is really better than the raster scan, right? If at all you have many number of lines in your image, then it is difficult to print you. At the same time, if you are performing certain kind of shadings, means you want different kind of colors to be printed, and in different ways, different shades to be printed, that is difficult here, because it is just one line at a time can be printed, and if at all it contains multiple lines, then multiple lines can be printed to show the whole image. So that is here. It is also called this vector display, or a stroke writing display, or calligraphic display. Also, if we talk about the refresh rate, here we should understand that printing something on the screen, I should say printing an image on the screen, is just displaying the lines on the screen. So if you have more number of lines, then in a second you will be able to refresh less number of times, right? So whatever it would have, we should have at least 30 to 60 times we should refresh. Refreshing means, suppose you were drawing 3 lines on the screen, then in this 1 second you should draw these 3 lines at least 30 to 60 times. That is the refresh rate. What happens, you store your image in a way of how many commands of the lines, that this line come from, then this line will be printed, another line will be printed. So what is happening, your first line is printed, after that second, and so on. When you reach the last line, after processing your last line, you again come to the first line to print. Okay, and in this way you keep on repeating it. This repetition will be called as a refresh. So you will keep on refreshing it. You can refresh for 30 to 60 times. If at all there are more number of lines, it may delay also. That may lead to certain kind of flickers. But sometimes if you will have less number of lines, in that case what may happen, you may get the refresh rate more than 60. So in that case you will have to avoid to get the refresh rate more than 40, because getting the refresh rate more than 60 actually may lead to burning of the phosphorus on that particular screen. So this is also something where in this case you will delay the refresh cycle. After one refresh you will wait, and accordingly you will refresh. So this is how random scan is done, and you can understand the difference of this random scan from the raster scan, where it was being done line by line according to the frame buffer. Here also this information of the lines to be drawn is stored in our memory. We call it you can call it the refresh buffer, or in display list also you can call it, the list of lines to be displayed, right? So display list it can be called, or a refresh buffer where you store the list of lines to be displayed. This was the story of random scan display. And next what we can see is other output and input devices, where we will try to see some more devices to go through.